Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome back to GBS Beginner English. This is week 3 for GBS Beginner English at Sooncheng Young University. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to start the third week of our classes. We're starting it up with Speak Now 3. This is lesson 2. So let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about she is a born leader. Yes. A born leader, that's what we need. Oh, yes, we do. All right, so let's get started and find out more about those born leaders. All right, so today we're going to start off first with Know Your English Grammar. This is the first class of the week, so we're going to do a little bit of practice with some English grammar that's easily confused. We'll then move into the student book, talk about lesson 2 and about all those fun things about being a leader and positive and negative characteristics. We'll do a workbook checkup and then we'll wrap it all up and review at the very end of class. So let's get started. First, we've got grammar time. It's and its. Now, this is a confusion point that many people, even native speakers, still get confused. This has to do, like we talked about last time, possessive versus a contraction. Last time we talked about your and your. Y-O-U-R being possessive, Y-O apostrophe R-E being a contraction of the words you and are. Here we have the same situation. It's and its. IT apostrophe S is a contraction, and it's always a contraction between the words it and is. So it's an apple. It's our class. It's Friday. It is. When we put its ITS, now we're making it possessive. Now I know what you're saying. Oh, but doesn't an apostrophe S make something possessive? It does, except in the word it. This is when we use ITS, no apostrophe whatsoever. It's confusing, I know, but once you get used to it, it won't confuse you anymore. But ITS is the possessive form of the word. So it's bone, it's book. Now we use it when we don't know the gender or when it's an object or something that owns. It's remote control. This is the TV's remote control. Or it's food, talking about an animal. It's food. It belongs to that food. So this is easily confused. Don't worry if you have trouble with this. Just remember, just like with you and your and your, if you're in doubt, separate the word into it is. If it still makes sense, then it's apostrophe S. If it doesn't make sense, take out the apostrophe. All right, we move on. Now let's talk about vocabulary for this. Oh, no! Yes, let's talk about the vocabulary for this lesson. Now, we're talking about personal characteristics. Some things can be a positive thing and some can be negative. So we start off with a role model, somebody that you would look up to, somebody that's, wow, that person is really amazing. I want to be like that person, a role model. A problem solver, somebody that you might think is like, I got this thing here. I don't know what to do. Problem solver is probably going to help you fix it. A follower. Now, not everybody can be a leader. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Not all of you will be the CEO of a company. If that was true, we'd have 1,000 companies and no workers. Sometimes we need followers, people who are going to be the workers that do what we're looking for. So we need to find the people who are going to do that work. A born leader. Now, nobody is truly a born leader. Some people have more characteristics to help them lead than others. Some people have leadership that they cannot avoid, and that all of a sudden, they have to lead. And some people are great at it, and some people, they just fail. But born leaders, there are some people, very rare, who have the skills to help lead other peoples. We have many different kinds of leaders, And I'm going to show you a couple of examples during class, but a born leader doesn't always come around. Some people think there are, but most of them, they've grown up with the right skills and they understand how to lead. Now, a loner, when you have a loner, then this is somebody who prefers to be by themselves. Now, it can be positive or negative. Generally, we would say it is a negative thing. And we put this as somebody who does not want to be with other people, that prefers, I want to be all by myself. All by myself. I want to be. Oh, okay. Sorry. I won't sing anymore because I know that my singing is awful. So don't worry about that. We have an optimist. Now, I am a life confirmed optimist. I'm always looking for the positive things. I'm always looking for the best in whatever I am doing. An optimist. The opposite is a pessimist, somebody who is looking for the bad parts and looking for everything that could go wrong in life. A pessimist. An optimist, this comes down to the whole glass is half full, half empty. An optimist, oh, it's half full. A pessimist, it's half empty. And a know-it-all. Wow. A know-it-all is somebody that can do and think about everything. This is one of those people that you ask them a question and they know the answer to everything. And if they don't know the answer, they pretend that they know the answer to everything. Objection! Okay, they actually know the answer to everything, but we try not to encourage them too much. So look through these words, see if you can match them to the right definition. Now, when you finish the definition, try to think about which of these words describes you. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, which of these words actually describes who you are. I would say I am a problem solver. I'm sometimes a born leader, although I choose not to be a leader, but that is my choice, not my position. I choose not to be the leader right now, not because I can't do the job, but I really don't want to do the job. So I enjoy my position as a teacher, not as the leader. And I am an optimist. And some of my friends would say that sometimes I'm a know-it-all too, but I think they mean that in a positive way. So think about your characteristics. All right, now we're gonna listen to the conversation between Andy and Kit. And as you listen, think about what they're talking about, the different people and how they feel. So let's take a listen and we'll talk on the other side.
Lesson 2. She's a born leader. Page 4. Conversation. A. Listen. Who do Andy and Kit think would be the best choice for Student Union President? What is Richard like?
Who would be a good person for Student Union President?
We need someone who has lots of good ideas. How about Amy? She's a born leader. People listen to her.
And she's an optimist. I like that.
There's also that new student, Richard. What do you think of him?
Well, he's a lot of fun, but he's kind of a know-it-all.
I guess you're right. Let's talk to Amy and see if she's interested.
All right. So now, you may think to yourself, why would you want to be the student body president? Well, student body president can bring a lot of good things to people, but you have to want to be the leader. Being the leader as student body president, that can be a very difficult job. Being a leader of any kind, don't take on the job unless you're ready to do the work. You may be asked, hey, would you mind doing this job? Sure, I can do this. But if it becomes too much, don't be afraid to say, I cannot do this. Now, we move on. I want you to come back when you go on your own. Think about where you could put these 4 sentences. I don't think he'd be a good choice. Do you have any ideas? We need someone who is positive, and would he make a good leader? Think about those 4 sentences and figure out where you would put them in your conversation. Now, there may be more than one place that you can put the sentences. See if you can find the best way to put those into this conversation. All right, now we're going to be talking about how we talk about someone's personality. And talking about someone's personality, we have a lot of things that we can say. So what is Amy like? Now, we're not talking about them physically on the outside. We want to talk about them on the inside. What are they like? What is their personality? So Amy is a born leader. She's someone who leads naturally. She's someone who people like to be around. We use positive ways to describe it when we want people to think about positively. And how would you describe Richard? Well, Richard is an optimist. He is always positive, and Richard's a guy that others see as a know-it-all. Now, the second one, how would we describe it? A know-it-all? We could use that negatively or positively. It's how you put it and how you mean it. Sometimes we might mean it as positive, sometimes negative. So think about your own personality. In class, you're going to get a chance to actually talk about your own personality in one of our activities. So get ready to talk about yourself and describe your own personality. Now, we're going to listen to 4 people, and they're going to be talking about themselves. I want you to write down the characteristics. What do they think about themselves? Now, when you think about yourself, I'm going to say this before we do the listening, don't be so harsh on who you are. Don't think that you are very bad. Objection! No objection on this one. If you think that you are bad, you have a chance to make a self-fulfilling prophecy. You think it's true, you make it true. So make the self-fulfilling prophecy positive. I know many of you are going to say, oh, teacher, I'm not good at English. That is not true. That is, okay, with that, all of you are good at English. Don't let yourself say that you are not good at it. Don't let me hear that it says, oh, I am not good at English, because that is not right. You are good at English. So listen to these people and how they tell you they are at the different skills.
Maya.
I volunteer 3 times a week after school. I go to an elementary school in an underdeveloped neighborhood and help students with their homework. They don't have private tutors, and their parents are usually busy working. The kids look up to me and ask me for advice. I try to set a good example, and I encourage them to study hard.
Roberto.
When I think about things, I try not to think too much about the negative side of things. I try to focus on the positive. I think things will work out for the best, and they usually do. Some of my friends are just the opposite, and that can be hard on me sometimes. I guess I prefer to be around people who also focus more on the positive, but I get that not everyone is the same.
Bernadette.
I'm the type of person who tries to fix things. If I see something wrong, I try to make it right. It drives me crazy when I see a problem and no one is doing anything about it. It's better to fix problems right away. I think this is a good quality to have. I just started a new job, and my boss seems really pleased with my work so far. Some people just accept a problem, but it doesn't have to be that way. It always feels satisfying when I can solve something.
Young Ho.
My sister is a real people person, but I'm just the opposite. I prefer to do things on my own more. I like people, of course, but I also really enjoy my own time. I read a lot, go for walks by myself, things like that. I have friends, and we have a lot of fun together, but I guess I prefer being on my own. Some people think that's a bad thing, but I don't think so.
All right. So now, as you get a chance, go back and listen to that part again and figure out what did they do to help other people? What kinds of things did they do to help them? Now, one thing that you may have noticed in the name of Roberto is that he rolls his R's, Roberto, Roberto. In doing that, you can tell it's a Spanish name because in Spanish, a lot of names that have R's have a lot of rolling your R's. So Roberto is a little bit harder to say. You can still say Roberto. That's good. It's close enough, but that's for another story. Let's move on and talk about the next part. Speak with confidence. Now, I want you to first interview yourself. Think about these questions for you. 1, are you usually the first of your friends to try something new? You go out and you're adventurous, you try something brand new, or do you let other people try it and you listen to their suggestions first? Number 2, do you ignore what's trendy and buy things you like? Trendy, things that are very special right now, clothes or items that is like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to go ahead and get that right now. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to buy it right now. Number 3, are you confident in your skills and talents? Now, every one of you has talents. Every one of you has skills. What depends is how confident are you in those skills? How confident are you in English? How confident are you in Korean, in your major? Those are all different skills or talents you might be good at. Number 4, do you feel comfortable making difficult decisions? The problem is not always the decision. The problem is, are you ready to accept the consequences of your tough decision? Because I guarantee you in life, you're going to have a lot of tough decisions you're going to have to make. What you have to decide is, if I make this decision this way, can I accept that? Those of you who were in my Tuesday and Friday class, you saw last week a decision that I had to make and that I felt compelled to tell everyone so that all of you know. One of the students in our department was exposed to COVID-19, and it became a choice whether or not I expressed to all of the students that this was something that happened, or do I keep myself quiet? I didn't have to tell anybody, but I made the choice that you're all adults. You should know when you have been exposed to something, and you should not have the truth ever hidden from you. The choice I have made. Is it a good choice? I'm comfortable with my choice of expressing what happened to everyone. Now, I think we're all going to be safe. I do not think anyone is going to be in trouble, but expressing that and telling you about that makes me feel that I have done the right thing. There's a lot of times, I know this is long on this one question, but there are a lot of times in our life that you may be faced with the choice. Do I do something that's easy, but not right? Or do I do something that's hard, but it is right? I hope that you choose doing the right thing. It's not for me to decide or judge, but I hope that when you have to make the choice, you make the choice that you can live with and that will have the least impact on you. Number 5, do you get excited by new challenges? Oh, I love new challenges. I love starting something new. Making the challenge to make a video or 2 videos every week. I started this challenge a couple of years ago and it's still a challenge, but I enjoy doing it. So I will keep doing it. And then number 6, are you someone that others see as a role model? For me, I would have to say yes on this question, that I do see myself sometimes as a role model simply because I am a teacher. And as a teacher, it's my job to be positive and excited and help motivate you to want to learn more English. So hopefully you're learning as much as I can. Now, so for this one, add up your points and see what your results are going to be. Then in class, we'll use this and talk about other people's characteristics. All right, now we're going to go on to everybody's favorite time. It's time for the workbook. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I know. It's the workbook. I know it's hard, but we still have to get through it. All right, part 1, vocabulary. Now look at these different words and help me decide whether these are positive words or negative words. Now you may be saying, well, they could be both. Well, then put them in the middle of this Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is when you have 2 circles overlap, one characteristic, the other characteristic, and where they meet in the middle. So some of them are positive, some are negative, and some can be both. Then, after you have finished part 1, come down to part 2 and try to fill in this from your own ideas. Make sentences that make sense. So blank is a born leader. Now, given the things that are happening in the world at this time, President Zelensky of the Ukraine, I believe, is a born leader. He has stepped up to doing a hard job in a hard time, and he's doing it well. Not perfectly, but he's doing it well. He is a born leader. See what you can do to make the rest of these sentences true in your own way. Now you can choose, and you may disagree with my opinion of President Zelensky of the Ukraine. You may say, oh, he's not a leader. Put who you think is a born leader. It's up to you. No answer is wrong. It's your opinion. Now, coming back to elections and voting, it's hard to vote on someone. And at the university, we have elections every year to vote for the president, vice president of different majors across the campus, and the student body president. So think about that as you read this particular article. So the student union president elections. On Monday, students will vote for student union president. Voting will take place in the student union between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. The results will be posted here the same evening. 6 candidates are running for student union president: Alan Walker, Dalia Ramiro, Maria Carbal, Hannah Nasser, Robert Graham, and Jiwon Kim. As the editors of the school newspaper, we support Maria Cabral for president. She is a born leader and problem solver. When she was head of the campus tour guides, Cabral recorded the tour so visitors could go independently. She also pushed the school to make the paths easier for visitors in wheelchairs. Cabral has many good ideas for the student union. She works well with other people so she can get things done. The school needs a leader and an optimist to develop school spirit. The student union will have free coffee and cookies available during voting hours. So this is a good chance to figure out who they're going to support. Complete the sentences with the words from the article. Now, I have one problem with this article. As a newspaper or journalist, you're entitled to your own opinion, and that's great. But as a journalist, you should be reporting the facts without a bias. This one, they have the bias that they're supporting one candidate. As a journalist, they shouldn't support any of the candidates. Or if they are, give the good characteristics of each of the candidates. Just my opinion about being a good journalist. All right, now, pair work. Do not forget this section. This is the most important part of your homework. If you forget this, you're throwing points away. Please don't forget it. First, What qualities do you think make a good student president? Do you think they should be a born leader? Optimistic. What do you think the leader needs? Number 2, when have you had a leadership role in the past? Anytime. What kind of leadership? It could be a leader of friends. It could be the leader of classes. When have you been the leader? All right, so now part 2 says people often need written recommendations for jobs or other positions. I've actually been doing this recently for several of my friends who are applying for new jobs. Write a recommendation for someone that you know. Use the 3rd paragraph above as a model. Now, when you write a recommendation for someone, be sure first and foremost, be honest. Don't write anything that's untrue. When you write a recommendation, what you're doing is saying, this person will be good for this job. Here's the reason why. A recommendation is great, but make sure that before you give a recommendation, be sure it's going to be the truth. The second thing, before you ask someone to give you a recommendation, find out if they would actually recommend you first. Then you can ask them for the recommendation later. Part 3, exchange your recommendations with classmates. Be sure you look at other people's recommendations. Ask someone to give a recommendation for you. Ask someone that you know. Don't ask a stranger. Now, many of you are brand new to my class. I couldn't give you a recommendation, but the few of you who've been in my class, 2 semesters, 3 semesters, I've been seeing you in class, I've been talking to you, I can start to offer a recommendation. But until I've seen someone and I know them by name and by sight, it's probably not a good idea to ask for a recommendation. Before you leave university, be sure to get some recommendations from your professors that you've been in class with many times and that they know you well. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, today we started off with the grammar point of the day. We then moved into our student book where we talked a little bit about positive and negative characteristics of people. We've talked about the workbook and writing a recommendation, and we've wrapped it all up together. Thank you all very much, ladies and gentlemen. I know that you're going to have a great and wonderful time this week. This is video 1 of 2, and I'll see you in our next lesson. So until that time, have a good one. Bye-bye.